And welcome back to the OHIO podcast, everybody. I'm your host, Buckeye Boggs, aka the Podfather, and this is a Will Howard gives an emotional farewell to Buckeye Nation reaction video here at the OHIO podcast. Do us a big favor, smash that like button. If you're not already, please subscribe to the channel. It's absolutely free, costs you nothing, and absolutely helps this channel. At some point, if there's something I say that you want to comment on or react to, please comment in the comment section below. That also helps the old YouTube algorithm as we continue to try to grow this channel and reach more fans much like yourselves. Guys, Will Howard, to me, as a Buckeye fan, exemplifies a lot of the characteristics that you want in a Buckeye player. He's gritty. He's hard nosed. He's smart. He's a hard worker, uh, borderline cocky at times. We like it, Nothing wrong with that. Um, I would use more confident, but yeah, he's not afraid to talk some trash. He's emotional when he plays. All those things are great. Is he the greatest quarterback at Ohio State? Not even close. It's not even close. C.J. Stroud, Dwayne Haskins, Justin Fields, JT Barrett, just to name a few, right? Braxton Miller. Uh, yeah, and those are just the recent quarterbacks since Urban Meyer, right? And Ryan Day. You go back in the Tressel era, right? Uh, there's even quarterbacks then that I would pick well before I would pick Will Howard. Uh, so yeah, I don't think that there's any argument that Will Howard is not the greatest quarterback that we've had at Ohio State, right? And to set here and to argue otherwise, I think would be foolish. But there's something about the guy that just Ohio State fans resonate with. And I'm going to play for you his farewell video that he had posted on his social media sites. And we're going to react to it because it got me emotional. I'm not going to lie. My wife was laughing at me that I've got tears welling up in my eyes when I watch it. But I think that Will Howard speaks to me as a fan, as a Buckeye fan. And I think that this farewell video speaks to me as well. So let's go ahead and play it, and I'll pause it at different times and we'll react to it.
Will Howard, quarterback, Downingtown, Pennsylvania. I believe that everything in life happens for a reason and that God has a plan for all of us. And I am eternally grateful that my plan led me here to the Ohio State University.
So right off the bat, he is recognizing the fact that this faith element that has been a big part of this team obviously has in some way, shape, or form affected him as well. So that's the first thing he acknowledges. And as a man of faith myself, obviously I love to hear that.
When I first came in here to Ohio State, I had dreams of competing for a national championship, developing as a player, and hopefully going on to the NFL. But little did I know, walking away from this experience, I'd get so much more.
So what do you think he means by so much more? Compete for a national championship? Check. Obviously develop as a quarterback? Check. Going to be drafted in the NFL? Check. He's done all of those things, but little did he know he was going to get so much more. Is he referring back to the faith element, the brotherhood, what it means to be a Buckeye? I think all of the above, in all honesty, when you think about that comment.
A downfield shot. Touchdown, Ohio State. Will Howard scrambling in here. Howard looking to launch. Right down the middle. Smith is wide.
The faith of the men in the locker room has
Again, straight to faith. So obviously that is a big part of what he's talking about.
moved me more than they could even imagine, and has strengthened my faith throughout this whole year and throughout really everyone in the locker room. Through all the dog days of the offseason in the weight room with Coach Mick, we made some unbelievable friendships that I will cherish and I know will last for the rest of our lives. Thank you, Coach Day, for believing in me, and not a lot of others did.
So obviously, Coach Day pursued Will Howard in the transfer portal. Um, interesting comment there. When not many others did. Do you think he's talking about his former coaching staff at Kansas State, who kind of pushed him out? Possibly. Is he talking about other schools that maybe didn't pursue him in the transfer portal? Maybe that's what he's talking about here. But obviously, there was definitely mutual interest from Will Howard and Ryan Day in the transfer portal leading into the 2024 season.
Thank you, Coach Kelly, for pushing me to be the best that I can be every single day. You know, I got to give so much credit to those two guys. And Billy Fessler is one of the guys that doesn't get a lot of credit too. He did an unbelievable job developing me this year. And thank you to all the other coaches and staff that helped in my development here at the Ohio State University. And finally, thank you to Buckeye Nation for embracing me from day one. Thank you for taking me in and embracing me as one of your own.
I'm gonna back it up. I'm gonna replay that part. Listen real carefully because this is what we're gonna talk about here.
Here at the Ohio State University. And finally, thank you to Buckeye Nation for embracing me from day one. Thank you for taking me in and embracing me as one of your own. I will be a Buckeye for life. OH.
If that doesn't move you as a Ohio State fan, I don't know what will. That video, it just gets me in the feels. I ain't gonna lie. Love it. Let me respond to the last part that was directed towards you and I as Buckeye fans. Is he's talking to Buckeye Nation and embracing him as one of our own. Ohio State fans get a bad rap, especially from other fan bases, when they hear stories about a select few people who do idiotic things and say idiotic things, especially online, such as the idiots who threaten Ryan Day and his family. The majority of Buckeye Nation, the majority of Ohio State fans are not those idiots. Kirk Herbstreit called him the lunatic fringe. And he tried to throw a number at it, 20% or whatever. That's ridiculous. By the way, I consider myself a part of the quote unquote lunatic fringe. I love Ohio State. It is a fabric of who I am as a man, as a sports fan. There's not a day goes by in my life that I don't think, say, do, have some kind of conversation about Ohio State. And it's because I enjoy it so much, and it has given me so many good memories, and it's a way for me to spend my time as a hobby doing this podcast. And yeah, so I'm a part of that quote unquote lunatic fringe. I have never threatened anybody. I would never do that. I think a lot of those are people who lose their shirt and gambling, which it's one of the reasons why I never gamble on Ohio State games, because I don't want to be invested in that way. I want to be invested with my fandom, not my dollars when it comes to that. So I don't allow myself to get sucked into those temptations. But I will say this: I think Will Howard exemplifies everything as a player that we as Ohio State fans, the majority who I interact with, uh, kind of how we wear our Ohio State fandom. He exemplifies that. He represents that. The most of the Ohio State fans I interact with are people of great passion. They are people of tremendous faith. They are people who understand that hard work, dedication, getting up every day and making a living by the sweat of your brow, is something to be honored and respected. And when you have a player who um, represents those values the way Will Howard has, I think that it causes us as fans to swell up with pride in a young man like that. I remember when we had our nice little video with the K-State guys from the College Huddle, Cocaine Willie's the name of their podcast. They said you guys are going to love Will Howard, and we do. We fell in love with the guy. I wish we had another season or two with him. I do, because he is the type of player you can't help but to root for. Like I said, he's not Troy Smith. You know, he's not a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. Although he had a great season. I mean, really, really good season. You don't believe me? Let's look at the numbers. 2024 stats. See him up there? 309 for 423 for a Buckeye record 73.1 completion percentage, 4,010 yards, 35 touchdowns, 10 interceptions for a QB rating of 175.3. He also added 7 rushing touchdowns and 200 yards rushing as well with those stats. So, and then look what he did at K-State, comparatively. I mean, not even close in completion percentage. He always got a little bit better. He's getting a little bit better every single season, every single year out there. He got just a little bit better than the year before, and then this year he exploded. And I think that has a lot to do with not only him as a maturing as an athlete and as a quarterback, as a player. I think it has a lot to do with the talent that was around him as well. And he stepped into that role and became a leader, along with Jack Sawyer on the defense. Those two together, as you saw there in that video with them yelling at each other after Sawyer scoop and score against Texas, an iconic moment. Will Howard celebrating, yelling at him at the sideline as he's gasping for oxygen after that touchdown run. Um, that moment will live on forever in Ohio State lore. But he's everything you would want in a Buckeye. And that's what I love about Will Howard. And I think with that last comment, I think he gets us as Buckeye fans. And it was a perfect match. It was a perfect, sometimes you just strike gold. Ryan Day struck gold when he got Will Howard, man. Struck gold. There were other quarterbacks out there in the NIL who were more celebrated than he was. But Will Howard was the perfect fit for this team, and this team was the perfect fit for Will Howard. And that should be celebrated, and I plan on celebrating it. I've got my Will Howard jersey ordered and on the way. Going to celebrate him for the rest of my fandom and what he accomplished. He becomes the third starting quarterback in my lifetime to win a national championship for Ohio State. The first being Craig Krenzel, the second being Cardale Jones, and the third now being Will Howard. Again, keep in mind, those were our 3 national championship winning quarterbacks when we've had Troy Smith, we've had Braxton Miller, J.T. Barrett, Dwayne Haskins, Justin Fields, C.J. Stroud. Interesting. It's not always the quarterback who will win you a national championship. It's the team around that quarterback. But he was just as big of a part as Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins, as Jeremiah Smith and Emeka Egbuka and Carnell Tate, as Donovan Jackson on the offensive line, as the other offensive linemen that had to move around and shift around this season. Josh Fryer was really the only one that stayed in the same spot all year at right tackle. And then on the defensive side, he was just as big of a part as Jack Sawyer and JTT, as Caleb Downs on the backside of the defense, and Lathan Ransom and all of these guys on the defensive side. Cody Simon at linebacker, Sonny Styles. he was just as big of a part of that as those guys were, of this national championship. And he should be celebrated as such, and that's what we plan on doing. So thank you, Will Howard. Buckeye Nation thanks you, and I will IO your OH.